Welcome back. The objective of this video is to look at two new concepts, nominal interest rate and effective interest rate, and go through an example of calculating effective interest rate as well as how we can apply it in a question. Okay, so up to this point we have been dealing with nominal interest rate, so such as 5% per annum. This is always quoted in per annum, and what it does is that it doesn't look at the effect of compounding when our compounding period is less than 1 year. So what happened to our interest rate if the compounding period was semi-annually or quarterly or less daily, weekly, whatever. Okay, and as we know from the effect of compounding, the more compounding period we have, the higher the real interest rate will be, because every time we're getting interest, we're going to get more interest on interest. So the nominal interest rate doesn't contain this information. Okay, so what we need to do is introduce a new concept, the concept of effective interest rate. And what the effective interest rate does is that it contains this effect of compounding when the period is less than 1 year. Okay, and we can determine the effective interest rate by using this equation. I equal 1 plus r divided by m to the power of m minus 1. Okay, r here is the nominal interest rate, m is the amount of compounding period per year. So if it's semi-annually, m will be 2. If it's quarterly, m will be 4. If it's daily, m will be 365. Okay, and what you will find is that the higher the number of compounding period per year, the higher your effective interest rate will be. Okay, so that's the general idea between nominal interest rate and effective interest rate. And after I do the two examples, it should be quite apparent how we can use these two in working out our questions. Okay, so here is an example where we've been told that the nominal interest rate is 15% and that it compounds monthly. Okay, so we know nominal interest rate does not contain the compounding aspect. Okay, so we need to apply the effective interest rate to incorporate the compounding monthly aspect into our valuation. Okay, so using the equation I equals 1 plus r over m to the power of m minus 1, we know it is compounding monthly, meaning that our m is 12. We know our r is 15. Okay, so we put that into the equation. We will find that our effective interest rate is 16.08% per annum. So this is our effective interest rate. And one thing to note is that our effective interest rate must always be equal to, if the compounding period is just 1 year, or higher if the compounding period is less than 1 year. Okay, so if you have semi-annually, quarterly, your effective interest rate will always be higher than your nominal interest rate. Okay, so now we have determined the effective interest rate. What can we actually do with that effective interest rate? Okay, so let's continue with the example. Let's assume we have $100 now and we want to work out what is the value, the future value of this $100 3 years from now. So I want to do this question two ways. Firstly, using nominal interest rate, and secondly, using the effective interest rate. And you should see why we use effective interest rate after this example. Okay, so if we're going to do this using nominal interest rate, which we can, the first thing we need to do is divide it by 12 to get our monthly rate. Okay, because we know it is compounded monthly. So therefore the interest rate per month is 1.25%. The next thing we need to know is that how many periods do we have? Since it's monthly compounding and in 3 years, we will have 36 compounding period. Okay, so our n will be 36. So once we have done these two things, we can simply apply the equation. F equals 100 times 1.0125 to the power of 36. Okay, and we will get an answer of 156.39. Okay. One thing to note is when you're dealing with nominal and effective interest rate, you won't be able to use the table, because as you can see, the interest rate that we get are usually not available in the table, so you need to know how to use the equation to work out these kind of questions. Alright, so let's see how we can work out the same value using the effective interest rate. Okay, so from before, we know our effective interest rate is 16.08. So what does that actually do? All it means is this rate, 16.08, already included the monthly compounding effect. So we don't need to look at the monthly period anymore. We can just look at it on a yearly base. So all we do is apply our equation, 100 times 1.1608 to the power of 3. Because the effective is per annum, we have already included the monthly compounding effect. So all we need to do is just use the basic compounding equation, and we will get our future value to be 156.4, as we have done if we were doing the nominal rate of dividing per month.